Hi, I'm Craig and welcome to Who Cares? This is the second part of a multi-part video regarding the murder of Iryna Zarutska on the Charlotte light rail, also known as the Blue Line. Since my previous video, I've attended 3 CATS meetings. The first was September 3rd, which was a special Metropolitan Transit Commission meeting, which happened 12 days after Iryna's murder. The second was September 10th, a Public Transit Advisory Committee meeting, 19 days after the murder. And the third, September 17th, a Metropolitan Transit Commission meeting 26 days after the murder. At both that PTAC and the MTC meetings, I did provide my own public comment. So with all that said, where do we stand after 3 Charlotte government meetings? Security is still mostly absent at platforms and on trains. And when present, though, they are easy to spot. They wear chartreuse shirts with the word security on their backs. Some are armed and others not. They typically travel in pairs or groups. The level of staffing also doesn't appear close to the 186 positions supposedly allocated across those 3 shifts. I shared these concerns directly at the public meetings. At the September 17th MTC meeting, CATS made a number of announcements. Beginning September 26, which is in a few days, there will be increased fare enforcement with much stricter ticket checking. Though anything is better than the checking they do now, which is virtually zero. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police support will also be added, supplementing PSS with 800 hours per week of CMPD officer coverage. Now, PSS is claimed to be fully staffed and promises to be more visible, though the exact number of PSF staff is unclear. Is it 186? Is it 219? Well, based on the continued lack of security presence, their current staff numbers, I believe, isn't close to what they actually have advertised. PSS will also be adding patrols to the adjoining rail trail using bicycles and utility vehicles. Coverage areas of that will be from Scaly Bark to Carson Station and Brooklyn Village, probably up to 9th Street. Again, I don't know where they're getting the staff for this if they can't provide staff on the platforms and on the trains. So now let's take a little reality check with my own experience. On this morning's commute, I took the 5:20 train from I-45 South Boulevard. Only one visible security officer across 13 stations was seen. During the return commute, no security was at the CTC, which is their main transportation hub. However, 2 security officers got on at Woodlawn, and they both proceeded to get off at the next stop. So they stayed for one stop, Woodlawn to Tyvola. Of those 2 officers, one was armed and one was unarmed. I spoke to the armed officer and asked why they travel together instead of splitting across train cars, because each train has 2 cars. He said for their safety. I question that and go, for his safety, what about the reason he's there, which is for the safety of the passengers? The other thing is the security officer didn't speak really great English and appeared to have trouble understanding me. So this in itself can be an issue if dealing with people in a critical situation. Clarity of communication is important. So prior to my discussion with this officer, I encountered a person on the train who was disruptive. Now this was just one stop prior to me getting to the station where the security officers get on. This person, he was crying out using vulgarities and saying that if you're afraid to ride on a train, don't ride it at all. I don't know what got him spun up, but it was loud and obnoxious. Well, when the train stopped at Scaly Bark and he got off the station, he proceeded to urinate on a pole right there on the platform. As the doors opened, he just walked around the corner and right there, he did it.
What's up, fellow?
So, this is where, CATS needs to provide security to cover these sort of things. And without having somebody on a train, you don't see what happens. And when you're on a train, you're confined and locked into a container, and you don't have many options to get away. Now, CATS is also employing an exclusion policy. Basically, repeat violators for like fare evasion and other criminal acts can be banned from CAT services. The exclusion periods can be as much as 6 months, 1 year, or lifetime, really. Excluded individuals will not be allowed to ride any CAT services. Now, last night there was a city council meeting, which was about 31 days after the murder. Council pressed Brent Cagle and PSS representatives on security. And PSS claimed that their staff are sworn officers with training comparable to Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. But I question that because not all PSS staff carry guns. If you look at CMPD officers, they all carry guns. Likely, many could not meet CMPT physical standards. I definitely challenge PSS capabilities. So, in summary, fare blitzes, more private security, CMPD support are steps in the right direction. But 1 month later, visible security is still scarce and enforcement inconsistent. Is PSS even properly trained and staffed to act as law enforcement? I witness and experience potential language barriers, and am skeptical about the quality of their training, their experience, and the physical preparedness. The big question, will these changes actually make riders feel safe? As always, hit the like button, leave your comments, and subscribe to the channel for all my future videos.